Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we're going to dive deep into a tool that is no joke, absolutely essential for any modern Android developer, Retrofit. We're going to see how this thing can completely change the game for how your app talks to the internet.
So let me just ask you something, and I'm pretty sure I know the answer. Are you just tired of all that networking boilerplate? You know, that endless, clunky, super error-prone code you have to write just to fetch a little bit of data from a server? It's a huge headache, right? Well, it really doesn't have to be that way.
Okay, just take a look at this. On one side, we've got the old way. I mean, it's a nightmare, right? We're talking mountains of verbose code. You're manually parsing every single piece of JSON, and don't even get me started on the threading headaches. But then, look at the other side, the retrofit way. It's clean, it's concise, it parses stuff for you automatically, and it's type safe. This isn't just a small step up, it's a total revolution for how we do networking.
So yeah, let's officially introduce the hero of our story, the solution to all that old-school complexity. It's time to talk about Retrofit.
So, what exactly is Retrofit? Well, at its heart, it's a type-safe HTTP client for both Android and Java, and it was made by the super smart folks over at Square. But here's the part you really need to pay attention to. That last sentence right there. It turns your REST API into a simple interface. That's the magic, and that's exactly what we're going to unpack.
And honestly, this quote just nails it. It really sums everything up. Android development can get super complex, but this statement is just true. Retrofit is built from the ground up for simplicity and power, and that's why it's become the absolute go-to for developers all over the world. Okay, so let's break down why it's the industry standard. These benefits, right here, they're total game changers. First off, it slashes that boilerplate code we all hate, so you can actually focus on your app's features. Then, it handles all the tricky background threading stuff for you. No more frozen UIs while data is loading. It also parses JSON automatically. Poof! An entire category of frustrating bugs just gone. And maybe most importantly, it plays beautifully with modern architectures like MVVM and Jetpack Compose. This means your code is clean, easy to test, and maintainable right from the get-go.
All right, that's enough theory. Let's get our hands dirty, right? We're going to walk through making your very first API call with Retrofit. And trust me, it is way easier than you think.
The whole thing really boils down to just these 5 steps. Step 1, you add your dependencies. Simple enough. Step 2, create your data model. That's just a little class that mirrors the JSON you're expecting. Step 3 is the big one we're going to focus on, defining the API interface. Then you build your Retrofit instance. You usually only need one for the whole app, and finally, you make the call. Now let's zoom in on the part that feels like actual magic.
And here it is. This is where the magic happens, the interface. I mean, just look at how clean that is. With one simple little annotation, @getPosts, you're telling Retrofit exactly what to do. All that messy, complex HTTP stuff, it's all handled for you, behind the scenes. This one line of code literally replaces dozens of lines of the old, clunky way. It's incredible.
And all of that builds up to this final step, actually making the call. And with Kotlin coroutines, it's just this one super readable line of code inside your ViewModel scope. That is literally it. You just call the method from your interface, it's clean, it handles the async stuff for you, and it fits perfectly into the modern way of building Android apps.
Okay, so fetching data is awesome, but real-world apps do a lot more, right? So let's power up and look at how Retrofit handles some of the more advanced stuff you'll need every day.
What if you need to send data to the server, not just get it? Easy. You just use the @post annotation and then the @body annotation for your data object. Retrofit takes care of turning your object into JSON and sending it off. Done.
And what about authentication? You know, something almost every app needs. Again, Retrofit makes it so simple. You can pop an auth token, or really any header, right into your request with the @header annotation. It's so clear and easy to manage.
And it just keeps going. Even something that sounds super complicated, like uploading a file, Retrofit simplifies it. Use the @multipart and @part annotations, and suddenly you can handle file uploads without touching any of that messy, low-level code.
Okay, so I think we can all agree Retrofit is incredibly powerful. So now, let's talk about how to use it like a real pro. And let's see how it stacks up against the old guard.
This comparison table, it really says everything you need to know. When you line Retrofit up against the older guys like Volley or just plain old HTTPL connection, it's not even a fair fight. Look at all those red X's for the old stuff, and then look at the wall of green check marks for Retrofit.
It just dominates on every single feature that matters for modern development. JSON parsing, MVVM support, Coroutines support, you name it. It was just built for how we make apps right now.
So, look, it's not just about using Retrofit. It's about using it well. So here's a quick checklist to make sure your code is production ready. First, you've got to use the repository pattern. It separates your data from your UI and keeps everything so much cleaner. Definitely embrace coroutines or flow to keep your app snappy. You also need to handle errors gracefully. A great way is to wrap your API results in a response object so you can check if it worked. And finally, you absolutely have to learn about interceptors. They let you log requests, which makes debugging like a million times easier.
All right, let's zoom out for a sec and look at the big picture. Why does any of this really matter? Why is getting good at a tool like Retrofit so important for you as a developer? Well, it really all boils down to this. Less boilerplate means you ship features faster. Period. The automatic parsing saves you from an entire category of nasty bugs. The coroutine support means you can build apps that are fast and responsive, the kind users actually enjoy using. And because it's built for modern architectures, your code is scalable, clean, and way easier to test. It just makes your life better.
And look, this isn't just some abstract theory. Retrofit is the real deal. It's the battle-tested backbone of tons of apps that you probably use every single day. We're talking social media apps, e-commerce giants, even your mobile banking app. It's everywhere.
So, let's recap. We've seen the pain of old-school networking, and we've seen the absolutely elegant solution Retrofit brings to the table. We've looked at how to use it, why it's the pro standard, so really there's only one question left to ask. Your app is definitely ready for an upgrade. So, what are you going to build with Retrofit?